Carpo stands ready to fight a squirrel boss that's never been seen before. No big deal, he takes it out in one hit, floods his screen with reward messages, and checks his status window to see that he's the first player with a 10-star skill, the tutorial's first leveler, and a legendary dungeon conqueror. It's all because he has unlocked his 10-star skill, the ultimate move at level 8. By using it, the simple leather armor he drops transforms into a rare, nimble-footed NAR. His friend is starting to wonder how much longer this incredible luck will last. And the search doesn't end, for at the very bottom of the chest, he discovers an egg. Now that the squirrel is dead, he can keep its magical spirit as his new pet. While he grins and claims he got lucky, his friend can't help but think this guy is seriously cursed. Right in the tutorial, things get weird because killing goblins rarely drops anything. When the MC punches one in the face and finishes him off, a chest appears, and his friend is sure the reward inside will be trash. At first glance, it seems to be just a strange, unfamiliar sword. But when he uses his 10AR skill to check it, the item instantly turns into a hero-class item. This green-skinned hunter is the ultimate weapon for taking down goblins, packed with insane stats that make every fight a deadly victory. The only time he doesn't get lucky is when he pulls a 0-star spirit in a gacha game, but even that unlucky roll is actually a lucky break. A random guy who was so hooked on the game that he was its number 2 player ends up dying. Meanwhile, the main character is just a laid-back and playful troll. He steps into a game built by a ghost that he knows will vanish in a flash. The very first thing he spots is a gacha machine, that luck-based game, and I've already taken it off just so I don't end up broke. The machine hands you 2 summons, a new skill, and a spirit that stays right by your side. Together, the 2 spirits must reach a total of 10 power stars, so if you get a 3-star one, the other will fill in the rest with 7 stars to make up the difference. He bets all his coins on a single pull, desperate to snag a broken spirit right away by hunting for a rare 9-star spirit and a 1-star skill. 2 7-star spirits appear. While forum users think he got insanely lucky, he tosses those chances aside and decides to give it another shot. The trouble is that all that follows is just trash. With his final coin, he pulls a 6-star knight and a nobody. He's dressed like someone who just stepped out of today. Thinking he was a bug, he reached out to grab him. It doesn't take long to realize that people are the second player to die because they played too much. A man who passed away in our world woke up as the loyal partner in a new life. And don't forget what I said. All the stars added together must make exactly 10. Even though the hero's spirit is just a 0-star, he has somehow unlocked a powerful 10-star skill. First, it seems like nothing wild. He has the power to open doors to places that are forbidden or off-limits. Spirit Boy and the main character can't believe just how ridiculously overpowered this is, as they watch a flood of new achievements and titles appear on the screen. He's the first player on the server to unlock a 10-star skill while also holding a 0-star spirit. As the hero screams in panic, the dead addict laughs like he's the star of a fantasy story, bragging that he's beaten the game 5 times but lost every single time. The MC is totally shocked, yet the guy promises to help him become the strongest player ever. That's when they both magically vanish and reappear at the very first challenge, where they rush to face the goblin at the start and smash it with one mighty punch. The Spirit Boy wonders if his new 10-star power is the reason for everything. Immediately after the tutorial finished and becoming level 1, he was dumped into the city and asked Spirit Boy why he could always be there physically when spirits usually just pop in and out of existence. He points out that the spirit has 0 combat stars, so he tells him to check the stats. He earned a title that broke his physical limits, but the MC wasn't happy about it, especially since the 0-star guy just bragged that he'd share the wisdom of a 5-time veteran. Now they have to decide their next move, but Kong isn't sure if he's allowed to pick his own path, leaving the main character totally confused. Suddenly, they see a pushy weirdo shouting about joining the Mammonism Guild, threatening that life will get tough if anyone refuses. Kim is disappointed at first when he sees what the stranger is doing, but then the man reveals he isn't a PK at all. Instead, he smiles and promises to protect them from the very people Kim fears. He asks if they know about the level 1 quest for the mutant deer, and when our hero wonders if it's real, his friend confirms it has a great reward, explains that the deer is weak but its spawn point is dangerous for fighting, and finally mentions a long-range attack gang that deals with it. They wait in the shadows at the starting line and strike as soon as a fresh player gets too close. With that strangely pumped-up energy, the guy says it's basically game over for them. With everyone hesitating, he steps up to say that his guild was made to protect people from PKs, proving exactly why it exists. And then finally, he says there's just a tiny little price for their help. Our hero is taken by surprise when he learns that what he really wants is everyone's leftover summoning coins. But one guy admits that even though he has a lot, it's not worth much, and the shady dude agrees. Then he reveals that a guild member has the merchant class to sell those coins for a huge profit to an NPC, and the group instantly shifts from fear to apology, promising to follow him. Kong asks what I think about that guy, and of course I'm totally suspicious. Then he says the man didn't lie at all, which shocks Kim and makes her wonder if it's a real charity guild. While the developer reaches into his pocket to show our hero just how ugly guilds can get. He suggests sneaking into the group to have some fun, and our hero is totally excited about the plan. A little later, our hero listens to the whole tale about hunting an evil deer to get its horn, while Kim asks why he has to sit through such a boring story in this beginner village. He finally takes on the quest, but he's left staring at the crowd, completely baffled by who all these people actually are. A group has gathered around, looking like they are waiting for the creature to come back to life. Kong admits the situation is a total mess, comparing it to a long line at a famous restaurant that doesn't feel very comforting, until someone arrives and demands everyone move because they are going first, introducing themselves with a showman's flair as the Three Seuss. They charge at the deer shouting that whoever kills it becomes leader, and Kim can't help but wonder if they're just comedians working for free. Ashu, burning with fire, steps forward to face the beast. Now one brother is closing in for a perfect finishing move, while a sneaky player perched high in a tree draws his bow and waits to strike. Before anyone could even flinch, an arrow shot straight into that guy's leg, leaving his brother staring in pure horror. The guy hits the ground clutching his leg in pain as his brothers rush to him, but more archers appear and instantly knock their bows, sending a swarm of arrows flying toward the panicked questers. Rohan shouts for everyone to get back in line and keep the new guy safe. Suddenly, armored players stepped forward to stand between them and danger. Once the fighting stops and the attackers flee, the players realize the guild truly helped them, so they all start chanting how much they love and thank the guild. Kim sees the crowd of followers grow even larger, but his friend urges him to keep moving forward on their quest. But our MC grumbles because the line has grown even longer now. Kong tells him not to waste time and leads him deeper into the woods to find other places where deer appear. He says our hero is nervous because he's stuck in the middle of a deer-filled zone, but his friend explains that while everyone gets 5 stat points per level, he gets 10 so he can dodge arrows like he's in a movie. He grins, asking if he now understands how to take on the bad guys easily while earning the title Mr. Protagonist. And from a nearby tree, Rohan orders someone to eliminate the players who wandered into the forest. As our hero and his friends walk through the woods, he admits that the second arrow shot at him felt different from the first, noting that while the initial attacks were deadly precise, the later ones seemed clumsy, suggesting the long PK players were teaming up with the guild. The developer is caught off guard by this and asks what he means, but right as the hero explains that it was obvious they were all working together, an arrow strikes him and he easily dodges it, only for the ambushers to realize the heroes are at least level 10 based on their movements yet remain completely unbothered. Kim wonders if the game can save any of your moves. Kong isn't quite catching on, so he reminds everyone that the game saves everything by itself and wonders if that kid is actually a streamer. He says no with an excited look, adding that it might help later, then leaps at the enemies while the system warns that in this fighting zone, whoever strikes first can drop their items if they die. Kim zips by so fast that the attacker is caught off guard with his guard down. With a slick move, he hits the kid before he can even try to defend himself. He complains that he's bored and says he's going to beat him up a little more. A moment later, the archer is lying on the ground begging for mercy, but Kim ends his threat with a brutal finish. The loser's sword hits the floor as his two friends freeze in shock, realizing they're finished. So our hero struts up to the last guy and scares him so bad he starts stuttering on the ground. The guy begs and offers his stuff because if he dies, he'll be stuck in Zone X eating cup noodles for 3 days, but our hero asks if he's ever shown mercy to a beggar during a fight, noting that all his items will drop anyway. In the end, the guy says he'll curse him every time he eats cup noodles, but Kim doesn't care and just starts picking up the loot off the ground. Kong can't believe how good the kid is at the game and asks if he's a soldier, then wants to know what rank he held. Fantasia and our MC mention that he once climbed to rank 2, but Kim guesses he only got lucky and had to quit because the VR room was costing him too much money. His friend is amazed that he managed to use such cheap VR in those rooms without getting dizzy or dealing with terrible performance, even though it was expected to feel bad just because it was so affordable. Kong was shocked to finish second on such a terrible device, yet he knew for sure that Kim would take the top spot in this game. He suggests they buy a new premium machine first, but our MC says he has no money, so his partner says to ignore that problem and just grab the items, only for something to seem wrong when he finds a lottery coin in the middle of the loot. They quickly realize that everything can drop, even useless personal items, which has the developer looking thoughtful while our hero wonders if this could become a real problem. Then he tells the kid to think hard about where that guild might be hiding all the coins they've gathered. Your best first move is to sell your coins at the shop and use the money to buy potions. Kong tosses out a new question, leaving our hero stunned as he mutters that there's no way the infamous poop game didn't come up with that beginner trick. His partner confirms the news, fires back with another question, and reveals that the guild leader discovered this amazing yet dangerous trap, which becomes the single most important strategy once a game launches and tips start spreading. Kong says people share these ideas for many reasons, from true kindness to just seeking attention or making money, and Kim instantly realizes this fits the Mammonism Guild's leader perfectly. The developer keeps going, saying, the human mind is actually quite simple. Once players truly believe in a strategy, it stops being just an idea and becomes something real. It quickly becomes something as sacred and unshakable as a Bible, spreading so fast that anyone who notices the trick sells a mountain of coins. Kim wonders if anyone just skips the research, and your partner mentions players like Rohan who are so ready to hurt others that even our hero feels impressed. But then something hits him, and he wonders how Kong could possibly know all this, so the dev just shrugs it off, saying that in about a year, someone from the guild will blow the whistle. It turns out those useless-looking coins are actually needed to help a gorilla on a quest that shows up at the antique shop in the starter town. Kim is shocked because he knows this is the game's most secret quest, and the NPC shows up in different places at different times. The developer calmly explained that you just need to find the wandering NPC and give him between 1 and 9 coins for a solid reward, which made Kim confused since random encounters usually felt pointless. But his partner smiled and reminded him that the NPC isn't random, it just moves to different spots. Seeing Kim look totally blank, he says, yeah, it's confusing, but the veteran should just handle stuff like that. While somewhere else a guy shows up freaking out and tells his brothers the other guys got absolutely wrecked. Young, the Mamish Guild's squad leader, asks what he means. While he's still trying to make sense of the chaos, someone tells him there are already 10 people hurt. Taking this seriously, he panics even more at the thought that one person took them out, fearing his bosses will punish him and slash his bonus. With his kid's birthday fast approaching, he suggests they find someone to handle the problem. So Hanzo stepped right up. He's the best helper the guild ever hired, asking if it's his turn, while Hanzo wonders why they're so quiet and the two guys can't believe he's actually a ninja now. The leader feels the mission isn't quite right for his cosplay, yet he knows it's time for the ninja to jump in and help. Hanzo says they should let him handle everything now that it's time to pay back all the kindness he's received. As he shouts that he will strike fast, he suddenly screams like he's completely losing it, causing the kid to fall and everyone to panic, though he insists it's nothing and says that even though his old wounds have healed, he still remembers the scars. Then, suddenly, the god of war disappeared before he could fight again, but Hanzo still feels his presence deep inside. The god of war is the one stirring up trouble, so Hanzo walks away with a muttered promise that fate will bring them together again, leaving his confused employers wondering what he meant before he reveals he clearly remembers a night just like this and that the moonlight is perfect for an assassination. While his stunned guild partners can only agree the guy looks silly in his terrible costume as he sets out flaming traps and waits, feeling a bit bad about messing with newbies but secretly happy because his contract with the guild is almost over. Soon after, a figure jumps out from the bushes. Kim arrives to ask about deer and mentions wanting more items from the long PK. So the excited ninja knows this must be the right guy and waits for him to walk into the traps. And the moment our hero steps just one more time, he gets caught. Right then, Hanzo leaps from the tree and lands right on the ground. He shouts that it's not personal, but the trap being successfully disarmed on the terminal means the guy has to die. Kim grinned and admitted he was genuinely surprised, noticing that his 10-star skill kept activating on its own. It seems the trap was disabled and the burn healed, but Hanzo stands his ground, claiming he saw this coming all along. Now he plays his secret card, charging in with his special move, but Kim dodges at the last second, leaving the ninja completely shocked. With a clean kick, our hero disarms his opponent, sending his sword flying. Hanzo is stunned that the kid can use that technique so easily. With every passing second, he became certain his fears were true, until Kim shocked him out of it by warning that his poor health had nearly cost him his life in that trap. But Kong insists that what truly matters is how the power feels, and now they've learned that this 10-star, no-limit move actually hides 3 different abilities inside it. Our hero is totally blown away by it, leaving his partner shocked that he's just enjoying the game so much. Hanzo wakes up early, stands up, and complains the games need limits before admitting he's a loser who'll only die as one, shocked to have lost twice to the same man, while Kim stares in confusion at how long ago they met, making our main character think this guild is just full of crazy people. Hanzo notes that he is a true hero for letting go of his past. After his long speech, the ninja says he has one last request before he dies, and to everyone's shock, he sends a friend request asking them to accept it like a cute little kid wants to be his friend. And naturally, our hero replies with a gentle touch of his sword blade. While a mighty warrior tears apart a huge serpent somewhere else, the story continues. Mayan, the guild leader, crashes his axe into the ground and shouts, "Did that thing finally die?" A man rushes in to warn the leader that the guild is in trouble, but the real danger comes from those who hunt each other for sport. May wonders why he hasn't received the item yet, so he orders Hanzo to be sent over, only to be told the ninja was knocked out, which makes May realize the messenger wasn't as bad as he seemed. The messenger keeps talking, saying that Hanzo logged off a few minutes ago to send a letter stating he found his friend from Real Fantasia and reached his goal. So he's leaving to follow him and will pay his guild debt later, telling everyone not to look for him, which leaves Mammon furious and the others confused while the leader gets really angry and scolds them. He says Hanzo was great but shrugs it off, then finds out that Jung is the one in charge of Long PK now. He tells them to call him once they have the gorilla quest, since they must collect more coins by moving in groups of 10 and spreading out through the village to report any NPCs they see. As he stows his mighty axe in gear, he lets it be known that wasting energy in this beginner's zone makes him very unhappy. Mayan grows even more fed up when he learns that the guy who stole the axe from our hero knows absolutely nothing about him. But he figured that even if the kid knew about the antique shop and went there by himself, it wouldn't cause any trouble. Before sending the guy away, he orders him to have that jerk Jung write a report and slash his bonus. Far away, Jung seemed to sense someone talking about him, so his friend stepped up to ask if he was alright. After what felt like a century, our hero finally brings down the deer, and now all that's left is to collect the reward. Kim stretches with a sigh, wishing they could stay, while his partner pushes to head out and claim the prize. Our hero wonders if the tall PK players are gathering in groups on command, fearing that if 8 or more attack him at once, they'll become a dangerous threat. Kim wonders if they should just wait around the village, but his friend Spirit clearly has different plans. He says that in a moment near the church, he'll point to a man and tell him all he has to do is go level up there. Kim trusts the guy never fails, but he's curious if his game has main and side quests, which makes the developer roll his eyes until he realizes that guy is the one who'll actually hand out those missions. Kim naturally wonders why he's only mentioning this now, and he explains that in Lhasa, the main quests usually come from the familiar. Even though it's named the main quest, it rarely touches the game's real story, which is why many players chase down their familiars to unlock better quests that help them grow. Kim shouted, "What in the world is this? I mean, this isn't a dating game." Kong interrupts before he can finish, explaining that he simply can't give him quests. Our MC is shocked, but Kong explains it's not personal. He just needs to reach level 10 first, so the protagonist heads out to kill some monsters and test his new 10-star skill, only to find the spot strangely quiet and empty of both loot and monsters. His partner hands him his shop purchases, and as he unpacks them, including 3 fruits and a bottle of spring water, he wonders what his familiar wants. Kim tosses a fruit into the tree, startling a nearby rabbit that had been quietly watching. Suddenly, a strange and furious monster known as the tyrant squirrel bursts into view. Kong thinks he'll beat this one without any trouble, so since there are no special ways to get stronger, all he can do is wish his opponent good luck. Kim pulled his sword out and understood that's why he only gained a single level after killing a level 35 goblin. He leaps at the squirrel with a wild, crazy look, shouting that the little creature is doomed for trying to steal his fruit. After he beats the squirrel, he gains new powers a few times. Kim feels a bit down after the drop, but his friend tells him to plant it and water it with the spring water he brought. So he does, wondering if that was the secret key, until suddenly a huge tree shoots up, leaving him speechless as his friend praises him and asks him to put his hand into the hole to reveal a hidden dungeon. And when he admits he prefers bad guys to good ones from his romance novels, he does so with a bit of an embarrassed smile. As they step into the dungeon, the guy warns that while the monsters might be random in rank, they're still the same creatures, revealing that the 6 ranks everyone knows in Lhasa are just the beginning, with 3 super rare ones hiding out there like epic and mythic beasts. Acting like a student in class, Kong asks a question about the 3rd rank, admitting he doesn't know it and only thought myths were the top, but after entering a dungeon and finding his physical body gone, he's now stuck there as a 0-star spirit. Kong warns Kim that he must take care of his health to avoid a bad fate, and just as their dungeon analysis concludes, the duo stumbles upon a legendary dungeon that even earns our hero a special title. Kim panics because seeing such a rare event in 10 years is a bad sign, and even though his familiar tries to calm him down, Kim insists that the monsters inside are too strong and they will likely fail. His friend says that even when players often team up to tackle this dungeon, they still end up failing. And with the easy smile that says, "I already know what you're going to say," he asks if our hero is going in. Just as we expected, our MC agreed to try again, promising to keep going even if he doesn't get anything from the dungeon. But then the developer pointed out that the window showed the boy as the first person to enter, not our hero, who suddenly realized he hadn't gone into the dungeon this time at all. His partner nods and says he got it right. Kong says he's too leveled up from other dungeons to enter this one, but Kim wonders why he didn't arrive sooner, suggesting either the other places paid better or Kong knew he'd become an NPC and chose to let our hero take this quest instead. His buddy calls the idea nonsense, but our guy keeps teasing him until he suddenly freezes in terror as a giant squirrel charges at him. Wondering what on earth it is, just before Kong finally explains the real reason. He simply didn't believe he could finish it, and that belief broke our hero's spirit. That squirrel looks ready to pounce on the group, but Kim is worried about the real threat. A terrifying boar he fears he can't hurt, while his partner goads him by promising a special title just for surviving the dungeon without getting knocked out. Kim takes out his weapon with determination and declares that he can definitely do it. The squirrel grabs Berserker to get stronger and then dives straight at our hero. Kim sees that smashing through the monster's armor won't be easy, so he quickly swaps out his weapons for a new plan. He picks his spot, lines up his shot, and fires right into its mouth. Kim says it was scary but fun, while his familiar warns him that at this pace, he'll tire out quickly, though he tries to act fine and asks if they can just finish this already. Kong stares in shock, wondering how this guy can hold so much energy inside him. Soon, his partner begins to doubt if he is truly human after he kills so many squirrels, especially since they only drop these fruits. The dungeon does boost drop rates, but the squirrels keep nothing useful, until a treasure chest suddenly pops up and Kong reveals that these rare gifts always appear in dungeons to hold something special. He warns that getting a rare item isn't certain and the chances are slim, but our hero ignores the warning and just hopes for a lucky break. Without hesitation, he opens the chest and finds another surprise waiting inside, proving the developer never runs dry. They quickly realized they were facing a rare hippo that was tougher than a boss. It's the rare kind of monster that only appears once in a while. Kim wonders if killing that rare mob will drop good items, but his friend warns it's really a trap that won't give loot, only a huge amount of experience and even a special title. Our hero declares he's absolutely going to take the title down, because missing out on something that big is not an option. Kong yells out where the monster is weak, but our hero just laughs and says he's going to charge right at it anyway. His friend thinks he's gone completely crazy and is sure he's going to die fighting like that. Kim realizes his friend thinks you can grow slowly that way, but he just wants to try a different path. Then he spots another chest nearby and admits, yeah, fighting is fun, but opening reward chests is even more fun. So Kong tells him to grab that pile of fruit and smack the squirrels on the head with it, and of course, our MC does it. Just picture what's swirling in the squirrel's mind as it watches that happen. Our hero wonders if that's its weakness, but his partner tells him to calm down. Something shifts, a hidden door slowly opens, and our hero stands frozen in shock. Our hero feels awkward as Kong tells him to go over there and smack that squirrel. Skeptical that he truly must strike it in the most awkward spot imaginable, he asks if he really has to do it right where the sun doesn't shine. Kim goes crazy, yelling that the guy can't be human, but his partner shrugs, saying the treasure and the squirrel are about to vanish right now. It looks like the little guy is heading out, so our hero chases after him while his two friends cheer him on from behind. Our hero is crying and apologizing to the little guy while he gains levels, titles, and other rewards. Kim wants to swap out his psycho familiar, but Kong playfully asks if he's talking about himself. Then the guy points him toward the chest, and our hero instantly forgets his troubles to sprint over, only to find it locked and realize they'll need a key of the same rank to open it. They're totally in sync and hatch a sneaky plan that'd be outright cheating if it actually works. After trying a few random tricks, they finally crack the chest open and find a strange piece of leather armor inside. Kong finds it fascinating, but he knows they must reach a high appraisal rank to see what it really is. Our hero sits there with a strange smile and says, "You know that, right? The main character is always special." Before a developer later jokes that he should just unlock everything and use Los's system to his advantage. But then they both snap back in shock, realizing our MC's 10-star skill can appraise items, too. After listening to his guide, the kid opens the terminal to find some information. Almost instantly, he spots new information inside and uses his skills to discover a rare armor, leaving Kong wondering just how far this crazy luck will take him. Right after that, a legendary treasure chest pops up. They open it with ease only to find an egg inside which surprises them since he fears it might be a trap and secretly hopes his power won't reveal the truth. Suddenly, the egg hatches into a magical squirrel, and Kong explains that these cute, useful creatures are famous because they can attack from afar while you fight up close. The hero wonders if he just needs to use special fruits to make his pet stronger. Looking as if he has endless energy and already wants to keep moving while his friend can't help but think the kid is way too good. A while later, they find more squirrels and Kim rushes at them with his weapon, then attacks in a weird way while apologizing, which just makes his friend even more freaked out. Then, he beats the dungeon boss, hits level 10, and clears it without taking a single hit, only to find the dropped items in different colors and stats. Confused, he says it's like picking ice cream flavors and asks for help deciding. Kong says to wait until you finish the job change quest, because then you can choose from 3 different paths. But our hero is worried his face looks strange and fears people are starting to suspect him. Then he raises a solid point. If he isn't a regular familiar but an irregular one, how is he able to give out quests? It seems the man was caught, and while he claims he knows little about the trouble, he's sure it will work out. So our hero accepts a quest from his familiar that somehow finishes itself. So he notes that this is truly the perfect spirit and wonders if he's right in thinking that basic skills are the most important. while his partner bows and says sorry. Kong explains that because Kim is an oster, he's stuck with regular jobs unless he dares to try becoming an NPC. He only needs to hit level 45 to transform, because while Kim insists he'll never be a fisherman or farmer, Kong promises to provide the gear anyway, making the gorilla quest their top priority. That's line, the brand new city. Our MC watches a player finish a quest and grab a new one from his familiar, who calls him a god, making the player look like a divine messenger. So he asks if there's a random reward for the antique quest. The familiar confirms with a promise of something amazing, and then they spot the antique shop owner standing right near the church. The old man asks the kid if he wants to trade with him, and since the terminal confirms the shop owner wants the deal, our hero agrees just as an angry crowd rushes over to yell that someone else already took the quest. Kong is thrilled they beat that bad guild to the punch, so he grabs the reward and they're ready to head out. But then our hero refuses the quest, only for his familiar to scream in panic that everyone else has always said yes. Suddenly, the shopkeeper's mood shifts and tells our hero he isn't serving any god. Then a secret quest appears offering a chance to become the Sorcerer King. The old man asks if it's alright to take the kid aside for a quiet chat. Kong is completely stunned because he had no idea something was hiding there, so our MC nods in agreement. The shopkeeper nodded with a smile, took hold of his arm, and asked if they could go. The guild group frantically shouts for them to hurry up and catch the bad guy before they die. But then a blinding flash of bright light explodes around the two of them and blinds everyone nearby. Later, they find themselves standing before a building that looks just like an ancient Greek temple. Kong warns RMC to think twice before speaking to an NPC since they're not like normal players, and Kim nods in agreement as the old man steps forward, introduces himself as Dre, and welcomes everyone on behalf of harem. Drex promises that after passing the first test, he will finally spill the beans on why he pretended to be a shopkeeper and where all his collected coins go. The old man insists the child resisted the lure, but our hero stops him cold by pointing out that having a familiar means he still serves a god. Drex rises, cracks open a screen, and tells the boy to hang tight for a second. Then he reveals that a ghost is haunting the kid, and while the old man promises to find an exorcist, Kong gets angry, only for the terminal to announce that the kid has passed the test for the Sorcerer King's descendant class. That was the man who built the empire, but it fell quickly when someone came in and destroyed everything. Those false gods, known as familiars, made Kim wonder if they were the invaders, while the old man explained that so many people died in a brutal battle before the Sorcerer King finally sealed them all away. But slowly, the seal crumbled, letting the familiars return to the land and twist history until they were worshipped as gods. And now they're trying to swallow the whole continent all over again. They trick outsiders into believing they are the gods' messengers. All of a sudden, the screen jumps to the second part of the test, and the old man freezes with sheer terror. He asks Kim if she finished the second test, then, shocked, wonders who that kid is before realizing that beating up the long-pick guys was way more useful than expected. Remembering the ninja, he guesses the ninja's familiar spirit was the real test and that the guy was far too strong to waste in a starter town. So the old man smiles and tells him to follow for the third test, declaring that the hero destined to save the world has finally appeared just as the prophecy said. DRA reveals that Aram's defeat by the traitorous invaders had a single major cause. Once the Sorcerer King fell, his heir was meant to have a mind too strong for temptation. But when they arrived, he called Kim a hero, made him stand in a glowing magic circle, and said that all he needed to do was hold on for 1 minute, while Kim complained about the sudden change in his title. The terminal announces that the circle is active, triggering an ancient spell known as the Capital Vices. So the old man wishes him luck while he panics, checks with his familiar, and learns it's a 9-star spell that will almost certainly get him killed. Kong thinks the 7 Deadly Sins debuff is just a bunch of nonsense, and since anyone who survives it can probably win the game, he can see why it's so nasty. RMC uses his very own 9-star magic to wipe away every negative status, finishes the quest, and the terminal reveals that clearing it this insanely powerful way turns his class into a sorcerer monarch. Kim stared in shock, half believing he had actually won. He swaps into the mythic class to unlock powerful new skills that leave Kong furious, while the protagonist can't wait to see them. The old man weeps with pure emotion because the Sorcerer King has finally returned. Kneeling down, he announces that RC is the new ruler of all Akram, but Kim awkwardly tells him to stop, and when he asks Kim to open a box, she just wonders what's inside. Dirk holds up a glove that looks ordinary but acts like a magic wand, the very weapon once owned by the Sorcerer King, while Kim can't stop talking about how excited she is to try it in battle despite the old man's warning that they must prepare first before taking on such a strong foe. The old man insists he stays behind to study the coins, which are the only clues to the false gods, so Kim, eager to help, offers to join the search. A guy lying on his bed complains that all the game streamers are annoying and then asks if a video he found is about the mutant deer quest. He thinks it's a video from a beginner who doesn't know much, but he says even if it's terrible, it will help him get more views. He watches the video and sees our hero effortlessly wiping out those PK guild members. He was blown away that the kid handled the entire long PK squad all by himself, spotted a mysterious NPC near the church he'd never seen before, and then screamed that it's the guy for the gorilla quest. Feeling a bit bored, Kim says he's finally done editing and has uploaded the video just as his partner asked. He was shocked to see 400k views and a packed plaza, suspecting it was the Mamish Guild until his familiar revealed it was all because of him, turning him into an overnight star that everyone wants to chat about and watch him try to stream for. Kim asks his partner if he was okay and what happened, and as the kid explains, he reveals that with only 30 minutes left and most of the daily 10-hour limit already used up, our hero is amazed by how much was accomplished in just one day. Suddenly, the familiar starts panicking because he's only tied to our hero, so when Kim logs off, he clings to our MC and begs him not to go, even though Kim isn't sure if the familiar will truly vanish. Kong wonders what would happen if he vanished, and his special magical group would disappear with him. That's the one thing that makes our hero nervous, while his partner sits on the ground calling him a cold-hearted bastard for not crying as he walks away. Then later, he realizes he wasn't deleted when Kim logged out, but instead got pulled right into Kim's room, leaving our hero staring in shock. Kong says he used to play in that stuffy bedroom before he became a familiar, but now he can't touch the computer or leave the room. Our hero sighs in relief that things could have been much worse, and his partner agrees, so at least he can get back to reading books on the bed. Seeing a crowd start to gather, he tells everyone to quit chatting in the square and head elsewhere. After a while, the two walked through the quiet forest, but our hero noticed the silence while his friend knew they could be sneaky. Then the familiar nods in approval, tells our hero to open the terminal, and he does, only for Kong to stare in shock at the status menu of someone who just leveled up, calling it an insult to his pride since Kim has way too many points and needs to spend them on making videos. Then he points to the skills window and tells him to open it. He says this is the first time he's ever seen a skill called Sorcerer Engineering, and while he's still poking around in the terminal, he also mentions there's an item related to his class hiding in his inventory. So the guy opens it to check, and to his shock, the fruits inside are glowing while the terminal asks if he wants to mix them. Kim feels a spark of curiosity and dives into the secrets of Sorcerer Engineering, discovering that he can now craft new items from whatever materials are around him. Kong realizes the Sorcerer King is a master of alchemy and crafting, but despite rumors that powerful guilds want to recruit him, he prefers to play alone. Our hero declares that the toughest warriors must always fight alone. Materials that he can create suddenly appear right before his eyes. The screens look easy enough to figure out. He grabs the ice and fire fruits to test them, but what he sees makes his head spin, as that simple mix can create nearly 28 different results. Kim snaps when he realizes trying to handle those fruits was harder than he thought. But now things have gotten even trickier. Suddenly, one choice jumps out at him. He carefully picks out ingredients one by one until the terminal finally asks if he wants to combine them. Kong is just as confused and starts to wonder if you can even mix fruits that are so totally different from each other. Freaked out, he decides he has to stop him because it's way too unpredictable, especially since he's only played for 10 years and knows nothing about this. He walks over calmly and tells us to try using just 2, warning that if all 3 fail, there won't be any left to try. Kim just apologizes and messes around with his partner, claiming it's fun while the other guy curses him out, knowing he'd react that way. As Kim slams down the button to begin the process, Kong screams in the background, panicking. The recipe brings forth a legendary fruit that grows into a primordial fragment of chaos. As the familiar watches our hero with his stone, wondering if his own purpose is faded, Kim hesitates over the egg while his loyal pet lies crushed on the floor. And now that the long-awaited hatching moment is finally here, Kong asks if he's ready, only to be met with a jealous retort from the kid who insists he's perfectly fine on his own. The guy goes all dramatic, but our hero claims it was all thanks to him, leaving the ghost blushing with weird vibes. But hey, remember this is a show, so drop the hugs already because the terminal says it's time to hatch that egg, and our hero instantly gives the command since the ingredients were so good, causing the egg to get upgraded until a cute little critter is born. Kim is beaming with joy because the creature is so cute, though his partner points out that besides the black fur, it looks just like an ordinary magic squirrel. And then the screen pops up again begging for a name for the new pet. Kong tried to suggest Q, but since the guy's username is Divine Demon, our hero figured he must be pretty bad at picking nicknames. As he plays with the little guy, the child says he's already decided it'll be Mukyang. Kim is hanging out with his pet, but his familiar isn't having it and tells him to stop playing around and get ready to fight. Suddenly realizing he'd already hit level 10, our MC asks if he can skip graduating in the beginner city. Kong says that once you hit level 10, your familiar will offer you a quest and give you the special permission you need. He tells me he'll speak with the mansion boss to get sent to the continent, but lately everyone seems to stick around here longer, which makes our hero really curious. Kong grins and asks if it's not obvious that the kid should just try out his awesome new sword and amazing magic powers. Our protagonist feels amazed and agrees that his brother is spot on. The familiar says, some folks stay there forever. And sure enough, there are huge crowds and tough bosses waiting just for them. Kim is shocked as his friend confirms this is perfect for his graduation exam. So they are now rushing toward L's nightmare, the Hellbeast dungeon. They keep moving forward until they finally arrive at their destination. They stood before the dungeon, but it wasn't just them. Others were there too. It looks like one of the liveliest spots around, packed with people hunting for a party or trying to grab a bargain. Kim gets curious about the first section and discovers it's the very spot where he crashed his car and where you start the mutant deer quest. Someone nearby talks about the videos that have been posted over the last few days. Kim watches as others guess where the antique shop quest NPC is hiding, since they went looking but couldn't find him. While one friend is eager to join our MC's group and Kong tries to convince him too, the other simply refuses, not wanting to become a famous celebrity. He steps up to the entrance, where the terminal asks if he's ready to go into the dungeon. Our hero is shocked to find that the dungeon he must clear has a timer counting down. Kong points to a stone record, asks him to touch it, and a menu pops up showing anonymous names that make him wonder if one could be the legendary divine demon, prompting his smug partner to tease that he's quite sharp. Second place went to a guy named Tadotashin, and our hero thought he recognized that name right away. Then, people started walking out of the dungeon, and everyone outside cheered, saying they must have just beaten it. The new guy puts on his glasses, calls us a filthy dog, and then we run back into the three suspects who are pretending to be cute kittens. Those guys get curious about their ranking and check it, while our hero laughs at seeing so many familiar faces. Excited, the three guys see they place 17th and decide to head to the city for their reward before moving on to the continent. Though Kong warns that the prize isn't important compared to earning a high rank to join a major guild. He says a true player would do it just to make their mark in history that lasts forever, so when the game asks him to go solo, he instantly says yes. As soon as they step inside, a clock begins ticking down to the boss's arrival, and Kim quickly realizes there is no way to run or hide, just as he expected. Kong claims it's a great way to test skills, but stacking weapons on top of each other like that is basically cheating. The clock runs out and the boss appears in the dungeon. The creature growls at our hero while his familiar warns him about the boss's fire weakness. So Kim nods and orders his pet to unleash a light attack, while the main guy tells his buddy to freeze his weapon and then boosts his own strike with a special skill. With the fight about to begin, a 5-second countdown starts ticking down. Our hero dashes at the growling beast, which sneers. The little pup is pretty slow, but he spins away from its lunge only to get blasted with fire. Kim grins and jokes that the monster must really want to die fast, then jumps on the beast to land a freezing critical hit that earns him a title for a one-shot kill, though he's not too thrilled that the fight ended so quickly. Outside the dungeon, the crowd is still so thick it feels like you can't move. One dude whines that he can't find a party, so he figures he might as well just go alone. He wishes he had asked the rare armor guy he met earlier to join forces. Even if that guy was clearly new, he could have let him soak up the damage. Something's causing a big stir up ahead, so it looks like a bug is messing with the game. He stepped closer, then stopped dead in his tracks as he saw an unknown player had just finished the dungeon in only 9 seconds. Kong wonders if that kid is some kind of wild beast, but Kim admits he didn't mean to kill it that quickly because he wanted to test other skills first. The creature tossed aside 2 things, yet it left its gear behind. His sidekick tells him the boss is rare and hard to catch, so he should be happy with what he has, while Hyang goes off in another direction. The little pet leaps to a spot, making Kim realize it has a great nose. It looks like his pet found something that truly surprised him by uncovering a chest of treasures that turns out to be a special Easter egg. While our hero sips his drink and his partner urges him to hurry up because there's still so much to do, Kim suddenly gets a wild idea that makes his familiar worry it's something shady. So after asking what he plans, the hero gets too excited and tells his pet to start digging everywhere, leaving Kong thinking they've both lost their minds. Later, back in the beginner city, the developer jokes that Lhasa is a fun escape from real life, proving that its 500 million users aren't there for nothing, and while Kim once thought people were exaggerating, he now sees it's far more than just hunting monsters with weapons. Lhasa is a world all its own, filled with people and a thriving society. Once you cross over to the continent where PK is allowed, things get much tougher because a single mistake can leave you completely destroyed. When they reach the NPC who sends them to the other continent, our hero wants to clear up a confusion about the timing, wondering if they can cross over this year when it will only take 5 minutes at most. Kim immediately stops wasting time and gets ready to play the new app that launches today. They say they're rushing to install it right away, so they won't regret it later. But Kim gets curious and his partner explains that familiars can't always tell you when a new quest appears. He explains that there aren't enough familiars for everyone, like how Pearl alone has 137,000 users, so they built the app to help users talk to their familiars and get alerts, but Kim decides he doesn't need it, and then the chief of Len greets them and asks if they're leaving the city. After learning that leaving might make it nearly impossible to return, our hero insists on going anyway, only to freeze when the chief suddenly looks terrified and asks if he is the player who killed the hellbeast. The chief wants to show his thanks for all his hard work for the city, so he gives our hero a special glove, but the old man says they have to keep moving because others are waiting their turn. Now that the gate is wide open, he can finally run for Luana, the great city on the other side. Kim happily walks forward, feeling the chief's blessing on her as she goes. In Lana, he sees just how vast and strange the city has become, and his companion tells him it is one of the 3 great cities. Kong explained that the massive population meant the place was packed with hidden gems, amazing attractions, and delicious food. Even though our hero was excited about the seafood, he told his friend to calm down. With a worried look, he insists they talk things through first, noting Kang's sharp memory, but Kim snaps that the kid's special power means he can only learn by listening to his familiar spirit. Then, feeling a bit desperate, he wraps it up by saying the most important thing is how the two of them connect. Rolling on the ground, our MC demands a skill while Kong wishes he could just leave him there. But the familiar insists he can give it to him with one catch that makes Kim get up from his tantrum to ask what it is. It turns out your special skill level matches your familiar star level, and your familiar decides which skills you get. Since our unemployed hero spent his whole life gaming, you can imagine the chaos when the team tests this 0-star skill on him. So Kong steps up, focuses, and starts using his familiar powers. Then the screen flashes, telling you the quest is done. Our hero suddenly gets a mysterious new skill and a title that boosts his stats, but before he can figure them out, the familiar gets nervous about the tough enemies and wants to fight, only for our hero to tell him to chill and read the skill details first. To their surprise, the description literally said it just repeats, leaving them completely thrown off. Kong tries to cheer up his player, who feels defeated by how cold and pointless the description sounds. Now it's time to put it to the ultimate test and see if they can actually pull something out of it. A short time later, a person pulls a mermaid from the shore. Our MC was pushing his limits to see what he could do, leveling up without a clue about his new power, trying the skill on its own or against the monster, but getting nothing but silence. The kid has run out of ideas, but Kong says to just be patient and look for a person in the game to help start the quest. The trouble is finding someone in such a huge city, but that's just the price of joining a legendary class. Kong challenges our hero to reconsider, yet he laughs and vows to hunt down that NPC with pure excitement. Our hero easily finds the NPC and feels a bit let down, but his partner argues it's a good thing. So they jump into a portal and land right at the cemetery on the map. They stumble upon a house that looks exactly like where NPC Gigi might be staying. So Kim politely knocks and starts opening the door to ask if they can come inside. The moment he opens it, he catches a sharp scent of lemon. Someone bursts in laughing about the strong smell, explaining that nothing beats this stench from bodies, and it turns out he's Gigi, the cemetery caretaker, who finally offers his help. Our hero, expecting the quest to be just about hearing the Sorcerer King's story, isn't sure what to do, but Gigi spots his glove and gets super excited, realizing he's the legendary Sorcerer King right then and there, which earns him a VIP pass. So the hero finishes the task, leaves the happy old man behind, and heads toward his next quest linked to his mythical class, with Gigi mentioning the Sorcerer King's relic is just nearby. And our MC points out the exact spot. Then he discovers the hidden relic buried in a crater at the cemetery's center. A spot that didn't exist until something went wrong 150 years ago when people built graves there, causing the relic's powerful magic to bring the undead to life. Kong thinks about how his first relic was like a puzzle and compares it to this one, while the old man says they can't fight the undead and the ruins are locked off, but he asks the kid to use pure sea ingredients to build a magic shield that blocks that energy. Kim feels thrilled because he knows that without any social skills, his only chance is to rely entirely on pure luck. So, he promises to bring it back to the old man. Once they say yes to the quest, they set off and take a moment to check what they're carrying. They earn a reward skill, but King reminds them that leveling up is usually the only way to get these random bonuses. As Kim basks in the moment, his familiar reminds him he got 5 skill cards, but he can only pick one, meaning the other 4 have to be discarded. As the dramatic MC flips open his cards, his partner sighs and asks if the kid can't just be a little bit normal for once. Then he begins the draw, eager to see his fate, only to be crushed by pulling a 2-star magic skill while Kong claims it's just a bad day, and right as the familiar explains he gets only 1 shot before it vanishes. A terminal pops up offering him a retry, which finally reveals how his new skill works and shocks even Kim, causing our MC to joke that someone might delete his character for such irregularities, though Kong insists they can't do that, before teasing him about just leaving it as is. The protagonist says no to the choice and starts repeating the same card shuffle again and again, trying until he finally gets a good result. So he makes a 4th attempt and is stunned to receive his first 7-star skill, Sacred Sacrifice. Kong shoves our hero out of the way and starts thinking it through. Kim asks if it's good, and his partner replies that it's one of the best skills in that category because more MP means more damage and it even deals holy damage, but there's a price. His HP drops by 10,000 and his stats fall by 300%. Kong ponders hard and adds one last point that makes our hero nervous, only to discover it's a one-time skill that vanishes once used. But then his familiar checks the auction boards and sees they could sell it for a great price. When Kim hears the offer is around 5 million, he's thrilled and thanks the guy for being his familiar. Then jokingly asks how much that is in fried chicken prices since it's the kind of money a student can only dream of. To earn some money, they head over to the auction house in the city of Lana. Our main character goes crazy yelling about 5 million until his familiar steps in to calm him down. Even so, Kim is grateful for the tip because now they can afford a nice treat, which is a big deal for a student. Kong insists on managing the money so Kim can focus on the game, which makes Kim think Kong is truly amazing. But the familiar reminds him to check if there's room for a new capsule machine and suggests asking his parents first. Our protagonist mentions his parents do volunteer work and are likely overseas. So Kong says that's fine, joking if the kid's chill vibe is genetic, but first they need to set up his account at the auction house. The attendant calls customer 137 and asks how she can help. She asks if our hero wants to sign up and he says yes. Then she asks him to put his hand on the glowing crystal ball right in front of him. And while agencies in Lhasa handle money trades to keep people safe from scams, Kim finally finds a way to pay for their servers just by selling his skills. The attendant explained that since he's checked in, he can now list things up for sale. Our hero wonders why bother when nothing has been achieved yet. She keeps saying the measurement is done and looks amazed at what she sees. She tells him he's earned the top black rank, which he doesn't understand until she explains that players are ranked from bronze up to black based on how big a mark they leave on the game. Kong reveals that the crystal ball has caught his legendary footprint, proving he is one of only 5 players in the entire country strong enough to reach the black rank. The attendant confirms everything is ready and tells our hero they'll get an email with all the perks of being an associate. She says it's a great honor to help write Lassa's next story and tells him to get ready for a long game at headquarters. Kim realizes Lhasa is just another world, but when he begs his black rank partner for a free capsule, Kong shuts him down flat. Our hero complains that the price is too high for him to pay, but his familiar shoots him a strange look that makes everything feel a bit more mysterious. His familiar whispers a secret, urging him to rush to that place and grab whatever he needs. Our hero reaches the spot, hears number 163 over the intercom, walks up to the object, and opens it. Kim stared in shock at the insane pile of money in the bathroom and yelled at his partner to get a grip. He stares at the bag in shock, unable to believe his eyes as he sees real gold bars inside. Back in the game, our MC challenged the guy on whether he wasn't terrified of losing all his cash if it got stolen from a gym locker. Kong insists that gyms are the perfect solution, but the real key right now is finding the right equipment. That specific capsule. A little later, at the capsule store's headquarters, the manager Shine is fed up because the free trial has packed the shop for 3 days, and he's ready to kick out the next rude customer who walks through the door. The manager, acting a bit mean, tells our hero the trial time is up, forces a fake smile, and asks if he can come back tomorrow while secretly hoping he won't, leaving our MC confused until Kim steps in to say he's there to buy an Artemis model, causing the shaking manager to realize with terror that our MC is a black rank. Then, with a sweet and polite smile, he asks if they can deliver and install it today, and Kim says he'll pay everything in cash. Kim's model is different from the others, and she knows it. There are only 3 of them in Korea, and they work way better than the others. Kong asks if everything went smoothly, and our hero nods, mentioning that while petting Hyang, he noted the delivery and installation took less than an hour before asking about his partner. Kong insists nothing major happened, except that the small companion stuck with him while his main character vanished, drained and empty. Kim stretches out and says it's time to jump into the quests, so they keep moving forward, hurling spells at everything in their path. After a while, he comes back to the pump with everything he asked for. The old man beams with pride, boasting that winning those hard-to-get treasures makes him truly fit to be called Your Majesty. Kim blushes and jokes that he got lucky, since getting that kind of stuff is really hard. He still remembers finding the item right as his little buddy was eating it. Kim thanked Hang and promised that cute little thing a reward. After the old man promises to finish the artifact in half an hour, our hero checks out a nearby hole, quickly accepts the quest, and defeats 5 skeletons to reveal a massive cavern that impresses them both. While Kim reaches level 14, considers leveling up for new skills, but suddenly notices something strange in his friend's face. Kong wonders if the last quest felt forced, but our hero didn't notice at all. And on the way back to the cabin they bump into a flustered priestess who asks for help finding her way after trying to hunt some undead. Our hero points the way to the cemetery, but her face suddenly shifts, and after thanking him for the tip, she spins around and walks away, leaving Kong to joke with his friend about her type while our MC feels a strange chill about that woman. He thought hard and then remembered that she also smelled like lemon. And on top of that, there's this red liquid. Panicked, he bolts and shouts, "That's what it was," while Kong, confused but determined, chases after him to find out what's happening. They race back to the cabin. Our hero flings the door open and shouts for the old man, only to find him lying collapsed on the floor. Kong finally sees that the pointless mission was actually the key to moving the story forward. Our hero finds the old man still alive, hears that the enemies know they exist, receives his last gift, and gets 2 quest items before the old man dies, leaving our main character with 2 out of 3 relics. Kong shakes him awake, reminding him it's just a story scene and he shouldn't take it so hard. But our hero isn't mad about that part. He's furious because they touched his relic. When they return to the hole, they see fresh footprints leading to the entrance, and after the terminal reveals it's an event dungeon called Lana's Hole, they decide to step inside. The moment they walk in, a clock begins ticking down, while our hero feels something terrible working against him. He's taking a beating from all those negative effects, but that new item will help him survive, though Kong warns that dying even once will instantly end the dungeon. Kim squints at the girl and notices the penalties piling up, so he starts wondering if it's time to hand out a few more bonuses. His friend agrees with him, but his casual partner is still going to do whatever he wants. All at once, a strange sound snaps Kim out of her thoughts, and a bony foot suddenly pops up from the ground. A scary, strengthened skeleton shows up, and Kong warns that its red glow means it's stronger than him, but our hero still rushes forward to give it a proper welcome. So he fires a flaming arrow, but the beast blocks it easily with its shield. So he charges ahead, believing a close fight is his best chance. As he closes in, he just barely stops when an arrow thuds into the dirt right next to him. It seems the monster has risen again, and now a skeleton archer has joined the fray. From the back, his familiar yells him on to fight, but Kong snaps, "What the hell, man? Whose side are you on?" before asking his partner if they can break monster gear in Lhasa. Kong instantly agrees, so while casting the spell, our hero admits he needs to use his mind since he lacks muscle power and pours 20 points into magic. He's got another fire arrow ready, and this one is much larger than the last one. The spell pins the enemies in place, causing the ground to crack as Kim laughs with satisfaction while the skeletons look on sadly. He mutters that he doesn't know who built this dungeon but feels a pang of guilt for them since he's in a rush, so he unleashes another burst of fire magic that sends bones flying everywhere before rolling for a new skill at level 15. Kong encourages our hero to keep rolling, even though he got a weaker pack with only 7-star skills, and he keeps trying again and again until he finally gets the last card. A 5-star lightning skill pops up, and Kim keeps it because it looks like it'll come in handy. He glanced at his watch, saw that time was running out, and knew they had to keep moving because someone was likely waiting for them just ahead. As they walk, Kim questions his boss if they are really on a quest to catch the invader or if another player is guiding their spirit, but Kong calmly explains that sometimes a familiar can even guide an NPC. Our hero thinks no normal player could time events that perfectly, yet if they did, the news must already be out. His partner agrees that in crazy places like Lhasa it's best to keep secrets, but in the end it hardly matters, especially since Kim asks if there's something on his face only to be told it's impossible to hide anything when he's loaded up with so many skills and weapons. Kong insists it's a crucial mission, urging him to concentrate and finish it right now. And then, they finally find themselves standing before a massive door. The door begins to creak open. Staring at the glowing light, our hero declares that history is finally being made, and when he steps inside, he finds the priestess he was expecting. She laughs that he arrived early, admitting she was so bored she almost destroyed everything and left, but she's thrilled he showed up just in time. Kim realizes she's sitting on a coffin, which must be the Sorcerer King's special relic. The priestess claims she has no idea what's inside, but since it must be something precious, throwing it away would simply be a waste. Then, with a grin, our MC asks if she's changed her mind, and the woman jokes that she's polite enough to ask others first. With a quick wave of her staff, she begins the battle and then asks our hero if he'd like to give her the key to the coffin. Kim notices the scary red warning on her screen, and Kong confirms she's a real threat with a massive 35-level advantage. So without hesitation, the MC lunges forward and collides with his opponent's weapon. She teases him, surprised by his speed, but her quick counterblow is so fierce that it shatters a piece right off his sword. Panic sets in as our hero realizes she just smashed his weapon. So Kim asks his older brother if this NPC can be beaten, only to hear that it's actually a monster. Kong says the kid is sharp enough and built to be unbeatable. Right then, the woman points and asks if he saw that. She points to the middle of the coffin, showing him that the key he found belongs there. So his companion says they just need to grab the relic without fighting the boss to sneak past the quest requirement. It seems our hero has finally realized how desperate his situation is. So he explains that the very first thing he must do is to trick her into moving as far away as possible. While our hero cooks with his little friend and the boss watches on, he asks if she can still take damage, leaving Kong completely stunned. Kim wonders if beating her will earn her an amazing reward, but his partner panics and asks why he's taking the hardest path when he could just work around it. So while Kim ignores him and keeps moving forward, Kong calls him an idiot casual player. After piling on every buff he could find, he launches his attack just as the boss tells him she's done waiting. With a wild, crazy look in her eyes, the priestess claims it's useless since he's attacking without a weapon. But things don't turn out the way she planned. She barely has time to react as our hero's fist rockets toward her, only for him to use his speed to unleash a blur of rapid punches right on the boss. She screams and throws her head back as our hero hits her right in the face, but he's just trying to make her drop her gun, and it looks like he can't do it. Changing his strategy, he goes for a full attack, but the furious priestess curses him and demands to know how the kid dared, while Kim continues to aim for her weak spots. She suddenly snaps and lunges at him, shouting that she'll tear him apart. Our hero just laughs at her, then blasts a fire arrow at the boss, only to have it blocked by a shield that stops weak spells but not stronger ones or physical hits, leaving him shocked and realizing he underestimated the defense. Kim knows his spell cools down just like her shield, but since he's just here for fun as a casual player, he charges in again to finish the fight his own way. He fires a stream of fire arrows, but the boss just laughs and says it won't work. That's when the kid starts counting down the shields, then halfway through tweaks the settings to fire ice arrows at the boss. But the creature just laughs and asks if he really thought a tiny smoke screen could fool the dragon eye. Kim notices that the strange object around her neck shows her exactly what skills and gear her opponent has. Taking the lead, the priestess asks if he's run out of ideas, but when she gets close, he mocks her and reveals one final trick up his sleeve. He strikes her down with a flash of lightning magic before she can even try to defend herself. He blasts her with a lightning spell called 8-star, gives a shout out to his little buddy, and promises to pay him back. The boss panics and blocks her shield, taking only half the hit, but our hero calmly steps forward, making her suspicious until he unlocks Holy Sacrifice, a terrifying spell that burns his own life force to deal massive damage. Kim places a hand on the panicked boss's head, declares he is sending her back to her master, and as the powerful spell releases a flood of holy light, he claims the victory, unlocks a new title for defeating an impossible foe, and while waiting under a temporary curse to see what the boss drops, he is filled with awe. He realizes he has somehow managed to get the woman's one-of-a-kind scythe and that legendary necklace called the Dragon's Eye. Kong says the item is super rare and that he could make a fortune if he sold it at the auction house. He suggests the kid keep the necklace for fighting, but then a pop-up reveals it can be used with his magic crafting skills, only to find he's still missing some parts to finish it. His partner points out an ingredient named Ariadne's Tear and says it's both rare and mighty. Kim grins with excitement at the mention of the Water Spirit King boss, but knowing he can't get the ingredients anytime soon, he decides to stick to the plan and creepily opens the coffin with a surge of dark energy to see what's inside. As he looks at it, he can't help but wonder if that truly is the relic. So, he makes up his mind to take a closer look at it later. For now, our hero checks his new 9-star skill called Puppets of Terror and is thrilled, telling his partner to look because this power is no joke, while Kim stares at the doll and Kong feels stunned that the game gives so much to some and so little to others, just as they finish the Sorcerer King quest and notice something moving nearby. While the screen shows the next quest, Kong yells a warning as the priestess rises in an evil glow, demanding if our hero killed her beloved apostle and complaining about waking up after thousands of years, only for the hero to boldly admit he is her target, leading the furious entity to stomp the ground and declare that the ruined world needs a new ruler, causing Kim to realize a normal player can't defeat this godlike monster, and that he might have used his last grenade too soon, yet knowing his quest still counts even if he dies, he calmly unleashes a powerful spell that rains down attacks on him, while he closes his eyes to wait it out. Suddenly, the stone he found begins to pulse with power, firing a beam of energy straight at the puppet, only for a woman to slash it down with her sword just in time, causing the evil goddess to scream in rage and demand to know who has the courage to stand against her. The mysterious woman refuses to give her name to a heretic, then swings her weapon to block the evil goddess's strike and blast her own energy across the room, leaving the creature screaming in shock at how Akram still holds so much power. She screams curses at them as fools, but the mysterious woman silences her with a swift sword strike when she warns that it won't end this way. She whispers that no creature like her can speak Aram's name, then turns to our hero, who thinks she's cute, before Stania, the Sorcerer King's Radiant Knight, introduces herself and asks what plan she's walking into after waking up under Aram's guidance. She spoke to our guy and he felt a little scared. He stammers, worried the moment feels too cliché, but she just wants to know if the boy is her master. After Kim asks again, the delighted girl introduces herself as Tina, saying a long name isn't practical in a fight, and she confirms she is a homunculus, a puppet made by the Sorcerer King. She nods along, agreeing instantly that he is right. She tells Kong that the Sorcerer King poured his very soul into 7 puppets to guard him, making her, Tanya, the very first of their kind, and while they talk, Kong can't believe a summoner would be this powerful. Everyone thought the sorcerer was perfect until he noticed the girl staring at him, so he called her out on it, and after Tina angrily asked why a wild spirit was there and tried to kill him for being weak and evil, Kim stepped in to defend him and let him explain. Soon, the girl discovers he suffered an accident and woke up inside a spirit's shell. So Kim offers him comfort while Tina apologizes for being rude to the envoy who was doing his best for his lord. She honestly bows her head and asks for his forgiveness. Kang's sudden happiness makes our hero think he's easygoing, but since his game time is almost up, he has to say goodbye to everyone, pack up, and head back to his room to face the next day. He's still figuring it out and can't believe how everything is supposed to work. He is curious about the little creature following him, but Tina thinks the place looks weird and wonders if it's a military office. He panics when he sees a pretty girl there who doesn't know how she got there, while Kong freaks out as everyone rushes into his room, only for the boy to notice a terminal that says he is now the manager of the Familiars room since their number grew. Later, Kim walks through a suddenly crowded city filled with partygoers and sellers, where his supreme brother jokes about him being late with such a cute face before noting that the dungeon Kim cleared has turned into a normal one, leading them to check the Familiars room requirements in the menu when they find it has never had a bedroom before. Kim is convinced that Kong meets those same requirements as well. His partner explains that Kim didn't act that way, so he sees the menu and decides to go there himself to check it out, and the boy happily agrees. Suddenly, he finds himself standing in a beautiful mansion. Our hero was already amazed by the mansion, but seeing Tina and Hyang tending to the garden was even better, so when he asked what they were doing, the girl simply smiled and said she was happy to welcome her lord back again, while helping Hyang grow a fruit tree to strengthen their bond. Kim is happy and Kong explains that as the room expands, they can plant even more great things, then explore other areas like a lab and training room to boost the Familiars experience points. You can also visit the garden, the orchid house, and the mine to gather more materials and ores. As Tina steps into the room, she notes that it is absolutely packed with stuff. Finally, she says she hopes her lord likes the place with such excitement that Kim is genuinely impressed by the amazing workshop, and his partner suggests he try crafting something. The MC pauses, then realizes the Monarch Sorcerer class also counts as a crafting profession. Kong says the job is tougher than others and insists he'd rather try it himself by using his magic to build things from the ground up since he has no blueprints to follow. A glowing circle with a timer pops up before him, and since Kim has no idea what to do, he asks what's expected of him. Before anyone could answer, the terminal told him to start, so he panicked, threw everything together as best he could, and just tried to make it work, only to realize the result wasn't great. Our hero keeps trying again and again until he finally gets an amazing result. He cheers with pure joy at finally becoming an apprentice blacksmith, but his partner quickly notices he has a terrible sense of rhythm. Feeling motivated again, Kim declares it's time to get those others done. At the terminal, he sees he can finally start carving runes and gets so excited that he asks Tina if this is a secret sorcerer power, only for her to show up and tell him to follow her over there. She tells us the Sorcerer King could do many things, but the girl shows us his true gift was carving runes. He must grab an object, draw a rune with a pen, and wait for a random effect to appear. Kim hesitates, glancing at what he thinks is a pen, while Tina gently offers to show him the way, and he gratefully thanks her. First, he pours the magical liquid from his quest into the workshop to wake it up. Then he keeps drawing out that special solution and filling it up over and over until the pen is finally full. He stares in wonder at the magic pen gripping his hand. Tina cheers him on but warns that one mistake will ruin the item, while Kim looks less than thrilled about doing crafts, and as our hero works, he realizes he can level up his skill to make better items, which makes Kim curious about where they're going until his partner reveals it's just to his room. The guy shows off his small space while our boy wonders why everything works out there, except for his second chance at life. Kong says that once the room opened up, something strange happened, and he feels he has to show it. He gazes at something, and then suddenly he's terrified. Confused about everything, he wonders why a strange capsule sits in his room. It's bizarre, yet it still won't work, so the familiar hopes that unlocking new rooms will fix it, but Kim checks the menu and finds nothing. Then Kong asks if he's up for seeing something fun. He tells our hero that the internet runs on that strange thing, which shocks him, but it only allows access to places related to Lhasa. Kong explains that's the whole point, and after Kim confirms he sent the video of that scary beast, the familiar checks the views to see that our hero has gone viral, leaving him totally confused by the comments. He feels a bit nervous, wondering what all that strange stuff is. Kong says it's their email because the top streamers work for the company, and they get the support they need in return. That was a clever way to save time, So Kim asked if he could look for a specific spot, but his usual dramatic self says he doesn't need to do it since the kid can handle it for him. Kim can't believe it, but his partner says that with the new internet, he can use his free time to help. He promises to do whatever it takes to make sure our hero succeeds. Our hero melts at that moment, so they embrace in a wild, over-the-top hug, but he knows that if Kim ever grows tired of the game, he'll be trapped there forever as a forgotten spirit. After a while in the city of Luana, he had sold his old gear, fixed up his new stuff and brewed some potions, so now he's off to find some new quests. To his disappointment, the screen tells him he's too low a level to finish the wizard quest. Kong scolds him for being stuck at level 17 when he should be higher, so he decides to fix his weak points since he's still 8 levels away from his next quest. Kong asks what the hero plans to do, and he admits his only trick is shooting fire arrows, so he desperately needs to learn something new. His familiar says they've found their goal, but now they face one question. Should they take on the popular Sea Cave quest that helps beginners? Even though it has a tricky catch that worries Kim, Kong explains it can only be done in a group, which makes our MC wonder if the game developers ever think about players who like to go alone. Kim wonders if the kingdom's cursed history means other users should be enemies, but a tiny familiar pops out of his pocket to reassure her that since the puppets were built after the war and keep their secrets, nobody will recognize her face. Feeling relieved, our MC agrees to move forward as long as she's okay with it, but they're still wondering why the super strong girl is so small and how she can heal so fast in this form. So the group heads to the cave where they find many other party hunters and Kim spots the quest start in the middle of the crowd. A little girl asks our hero to help her retrieve her lost necklace, promising a super valuable card as a reward, so he happily accepts her quest. He says she looks perfectly normal on the outside, yet players call her the angel or devil of Luana, and since the quest reward could be amazing or terrible depending on what happens next, it's time to find more friends and he uses his special skill to unlock new party members. Kim hoped his idea would open a door for him, but he was wrong and it didn't work. Kong suggests trying other dungeons later, meaning they must find more people for the group, while Kim doesn't care who joins as long as the mission succeeds and remains unaware of the stranger approaching who calls him the god of war. When Kim turns around and spots the ninja again, the stranger claims he arrived just in time, joking that meeting them here was an incredible coincidence since he never expected it, insisting their unbreakable bond from a past life is real. But Kim ignores this and keeps scanning the menu for a worthy candidate while the ninja offers help as Kim tries to recruit everyone without success. The guy steps closer to get the great god of battle's attention, while nervous Kim wonders why they act like old friends before realizing this is the same troublemaker from before. The ninja admits he left that group and only wants to help, which matches Kim's own goals as the quest girl smiles, prompting Kim to agree to team up with the fair kid who even helped him get his special class, leaving the ninja so moved that he promises to be back right away with the quest. Kim agrees to the plan so he can use his points, and while he casually browses, Kong warns the kid never to show his menu to anyone for fear of getting killed, prompting Kim to invest his plenty of points into agility, magic, puppet skills, magical engineering, and elemental mastery, after which the returning ninja invites them to a party where Kim is surprised to see him as an archer before Hanzo leads them into the cave, where Hanzo finds Kim is visiting for the first time and explains that the stronger monsters here attack first and are guarded by traps everywhere. Kim, buzzing with excitement, says he never expected them to show up this quickly, right as a creature appears before them, and he realizes it's the perfect moment to use Dragon Eye to check its stats. Hanzo steps in to handle the fight, and the guy begins a flashy ninja move that summons a super cute hero pet named Snow White, leaving Kim wondering just how far this person is taking their cosplay. Then he nods to his friend to fire the air cannon, and the small creature instantly unleashes a mighty blast against the enemy. Kim realizes the monster dodges the strike simply by raising its shell to block. Hanzo draws his weapons, declares victory, with a dazzling lightning spell that summons energy pillars, and as Kim praises his awesome move, he eagerly challenges them to their next fight while his pet joins in to blast away the remaining monsters. Our MC gives a big compliment to his little friend, Hanzo, who is so surprised he has a pet and even wonders about the doll tucked in his pocket. When our hero brushes off the question about being a puppeteer with a vague answer, while a shy Tina hides in his pocket, they reach a fork where Hanzo insists on going right simply because the dungeon boss is waiting on that side. Kim is confused and wants to attack the boss for the rewards, but Hanzo reminds her they should just focus on getting the necklace instead. Our MC sees the kid getting super nervous, and Kong is shocked that the ninja finally made sense. So he tells Kim to just listen this one time and take the right path. With a goofy grin, our hero just wants to have fun, annoying his guardian spirits, so he excitedly suggests taking a look while his companion panics and begs the god of war to hush up. Something is crawling nearby. The desperate ninja shouts that they've been found. The huge boss finally appears. Everyone screams in panic, but our MC stays totally chill. A terrifying monster creeps closer until suddenly, A bright light explodes from Kim's chest and Tina bursts out with a weapon to guard him. Our protagonist thanks her, and she shouts that as long as she's around, no one will ever dare hurt her master. Kim thinks he was a bit scared by just how huge it looked. Kong and Hanzo close their eyes tight, unable to bear even a single glance at the boss because they are terrified of bugs. RMC still doesn't get it, but Tina tells him the monster is tough, so he uses his necklace to figure it out. As he checks the stats and compares them to the priestess's shield he fought before, the huge bug just stares right at him while Kong panics at the boss's fast attack, and our hero keeps thinking through the best way to deal with the monster's metal armor. The beast is truly huge, so Kim finally thinks about trying to burn it down. Without wasting a second, he fires his lightning arrow and destroys the nasty bug, cheering at the damage before groaning at how small it was at only 1%. So he orders his pet to summon a thunder attack to deal a bit more. He even asks Tina how long she can hold on. She says she's determined to stick it out all day and make sure no one gets close to her master while she's around. Feeling pumped, Kim promises she's got your back and that he'll owe her one. So she takes off first while he dumps 15 extra points into magic to knock the boss's health below 30%. Standing before the giant monster, he fires lightning arrows again, slashing the boss's health down to 33%, while his partner steps in front to draw the big roach's attention. Kong admits he has no clue what Kim is up to, even though things are going wrong. While the MC calls this the big final showdown, Kim asks Tina if there's any weak spot in the monster shell to strike, and then shrugs and says it doesn't matter where he hits. His guardian says she can't quite see a way through, but perhaps there is one. Our hero feels great and puts on the green skin slayer. He runs head-on into the roach. He leaps to see better, spots the hole Tina mentioned, and decides it doesn't matter if his plan works anymore. He jumps right onto the creature and hits it hard with his weapon. Our hero leaves his sword stuck in the beast and slides down its body. Satisfied with the outcome, he pours more energy into magic and calls his pet to his side. Side by side with his pet, our hero unleashes a bolt of lightning magic to smash the giant roach, and while his friend praises the clever trick of using a sword as a lightning rod, Kim agrees that boosting his magic power first was the right move, letting his little buddy finally claim the spoils. Hying snaps a sharp salute and waits for praise, not realizing Tina is the one who taught him, while the new recruit just thinks he's doing it better than the soldiers he's seen before. Our hero declares they've finished the job and turns to Hanzo to check if he's alright. Shocked by the truth that the kid is American and survived a venomous spider bite that freezes him up every time he sees an insect, our hero accepts the apology and lets him share his scary story. Kim admits he'd have faced the boss alone if he'd known, but Hanzo reminds him that a true friend never abandons another, and our hero agrees, praising him before they receive the quest necklace. Step through the newly opened portal, and Kim tells the exhausted guy to rest while he handles the rest. Hanzo thanks him, but before he can share what he knows, our hero cuts him off, leaving Hanzo shocked while Kim chimes in that the ninja owes no explanation. He steps right up, all smiley and sweet, claiming he's on his side and can't wait to see him again, leaving Hanzo no chance to say a word. Our hero steps through the portal while his friend yells God of War, and with a tear in his eye, admits he's still waiting to add him to his friend's list before finally turning in the quest for his reward pack, only for his familiar to ask why they had to trek so deep into the forest just to open it. Our MC says he's moving away from the bad vibes, even though he didn't think Kong or anyone would guess he was so sensitive. After a bit, he decides they've gone deep enough. He's excited for a stronger attack but first checks the boss loot, where the kid asks about the cute guy's card pack. To their surprise, it's a skill pack that could hold something even better, so Kong gives the kid a tip that in Lhasa, even NPCs can learn new skills. Unlike players who earn new abilities every 5 levels up until level 50, leaving them with just a handful of choices before picking a second class to unlock stronger powers every 10 levels. NPCs only gain a single new skill once every 10 levels. So, if you want to earn the third class, you'll need to reach level 150. Our MC feels tense, wondering exactly how many levels this game holds. Kong boasts that his proudest moment was hitting level 300 and earning the 4th class title of Reincarnator, and Tina chimes in to say she's a 4th class too. Our MC knows his familiars are amazing, and Kong just shared another secret about how great the items in the inventory are. Kim thinks about selling the sword, but Tina points out it's a strange blade that one of the familiars could actually wear instead. On top of all that, our hero can even shape it into a smaller, tighter form. Tina jumps for joy at the new sword, promising to repay him by doing great deeds in his name, while our hero declares that the real show is finally beginning by summoning all the gods in a massive dramatic scene. He opens the card pack, but Kim feels let down since his new 6-star skill is for his pet, leaving Kong jealous that he never got one like that, while our hero happily checks his menu, loves his new skills, and still has points left to spend. Kong proposes they collect some supplies to upgrade the familiar's room, since they still have 5 levels to go before the next quest. Glancing at the list, He sees he has everything he needs for the upgrade except for one thing. His trusted companion suggests that to find what's gone missing, they must kill a monster at the forest beyond the beach, where the tree creatures and their boss live. Kim gets excited, but his partner warns him that they aren't alone, especially in Lhasa, where people will do anything to get what they want. But what our main character misses is that strange smile. They both know they must head to the village to get ready before they take on the raid all on their own. Kim chats with the NPC cook, who asks him to gather some sea mushrooms for a special job. Then a soldier who looks tough steps up to ask you to hunt down the tree monsters before they hurt the people. The two of them keep chatting, saying that with so many monsters around, taking down the tree boss could easily turn into a huge mess. Kim thinks this fight might be one where luck is everything. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out, "It's been a while, Descendant Lord," and our hero whirls around in surprise to see the old man again, who says he's relieved that Kim is safe, though Kong is completely confused about why the stranger is there. But before anything else, DRA tells them to move to a quieter spot because it's too crowded, which makes our main character very curious. Kim realizes this is the spot where he faced his class challenge, and the old man laughs, promising to explain why he brought him there, but first he asks if they can talk about something else. Suddenly, the man bows and says he humbly greets the Sorcerer King's very first sword. Kim realizes the girl was with the sorcerer, which means she is likely a legendary figure as well. The old man just keeps bowing over and over like he can't stop himself. D says that if he ever passes away there, that moment will be carved right into his heart forever.